Where Troy Once Stood is a book by Iman Wilkens that argues that the city of Troy was located in England and that the Trojan War was fought between groups of Celts. The standard view is that Troy is located near the Dardanelles in Turkey. Wilkens claims that Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, though products of ancient Greek culture, are originally orally transmitted epic poems from Western Europe. Wilkens disagrees with conventional ideas about the historicity of the Iliad and the location and participants of the Trojan War. His work has had little impact among professional scholars. Anthony Snodgrass, Emeritus Professor in Classical Archaeology at Cambridge University, has named Wilkens as an example of an infinitely less serious writer. The title of his book comes from the Roman poet Ovid. Now there are fields where Troy once stood. Wilkens argues that Troy was located in England on the Gog-Magog Downs in Cambridgeshire. He believes that Celts living there were attacked around 1200 BC by fellow Celts from the continent to battle over access to the tin mines in Cornwall, as tin was a very important component for the production of bronze. Wilkens further hypothesizes that the sea peoples found in the late Bronze Age Mediterranean were Celts, who settled in Greece and the Aegean islands as the Achaeans and Pelasgians. They named new cities after the places they had come from and brought the oral poems that formed the basis of the Iliad and the Odyssey with them, from Western Europe. Wilkens writes that, after being orally transmitted for about 4 centuries, the poems were translated and written down in Greek around 750 BC. The Greeks, who had forgotten about the origins of the poems, located the stories in the Mediterranean, where many Homeric place names could be found, but the poems' descriptions of towns, islands, sailing directions and distances were not altered to fit the reality of the Greek setting. He also writes that it also appears that Homer's Greek contains a large number of loan words from Western European languages, more often from Dutch rather than English, French or German. These languages are considered by linguists to have not existed until around 1000 years after Homer. Wilkens argues that the Atlantic Ocean was the theater for the Odyssey instead of the Mediterranean. For example, he locates Scylla and Charybdis at present-day St. Michael's Mount. Evidence. To support his hypothesis, Wilkens uses archaeological evidence, for instance the Elam hoard in the battlefield, and etymological evidence, for instance the location of Ismaros in Brittany at Wise of the location of Homer's Sidon at Medina Sidonia in Spain. He also argues that Homer described locations around the Atlantic with distinctive topographical features. He also believes that there are similarities in English river names and river names in near Troy in the Iliad, and added a reconstruction of the Trojan battlefield in Cambridgeshire to his 2005 revised edition. Cadiz would match the description of Ithaca. There is in the land of Ithaca a certain harbour of Phorcys, the old man of the sea, and at its mouth 2 projecting headlands sheer to seaward, but sloping down on the side toward the harbour. Wilkens believes that Havana's topography greatly resembles the description of Telepelos, the harbour, about which on both sides a sheer cliff runs continuously, and projecting headlands opposite to one another stretch out at the mouth, and the entrance is narrow, and the ships were moored within the hollow harbour, for therein no wave ever swelled, great or small, but all about was a bright calm. Sources. Wilkens mentions several sources for his ideas. Belgian lawyer Tessifal Caillou wrote that Odysseus sailed the Atlantic Ocean, starting from Troy, which he situated near the Wash in England. Karel Joseph de Grave, member of the Flemish Council, wrote that the historical and mythological background of Homer's work should be sought in Western Europe, around the Rhine-Meuse-Scheldt Delta. Reviews. As a work of French history, Where Troy Once Stood was largely ignored by academics. Isolated exceptions were a casual dismissal by A.M. Snodgrass and gentle mockery by Maurizio Bettini. Paul Millett, in a 2001 review of the Barrington Atlas of the Greek and Roman World, remarked that the geographer's decision to place Troy in northern Turkey rather than East Anglia was, presumably, resolved without much difficulty. Some reviewers noted the book's potential interest for popular audiences. M.F. Mackenzie wrote in Library Journal that the book presents a compelling argument and makes for interesting reading, while also noting that it would not be well received by serious classicists. In the Independence Building a Library series, Tom Holland recommended the work for those who have had enough of skepticism about the Trojan War legend and have wondered why Liam sounds a bit like Guilford. A review in Publishers Weekly noted that in Wilkens' fanciful reading of the texts, he plays fast and loose with the evidence. Author Iman Wilkens was born in the Netherlands in 1936, and educated in economics at Amsterdam Municipal University. Since 1966 he has been living in France, where for more than 30 years he has done research on Homer. Popular culture. Clive Cussler's 2003 Dirk Pitt novel Trojan Odyssey uses Iman Wilkens' hypothesis as a backdrop. Publication history. First published in Great Britain in 1990 by Ryder, Century Hutchinson, London, ISBN 0-7126-2463-5. Paperback published in Great Britain in 1991 by Ryder, Random Century, London, ISBN 0-7126-51055-5. Published in the United States in 1991 by St. Martin's Press, New York, ISBN 0-312-0599949. Book Club edition in Great Britain in 1992 by BCA, London, ISBN 0-7126-40940. Published in the Netherlands in 1992 by Bigot and Amp van Rossum, Barn, ISBN 9061343881-X. Published in the Netherlands in 1999 by Bosch and Amp, Koning, Barn, ISBN 90-246-04613-3. Published in 2005-2009 by Gopher Publishers, Com, Amsterdam, ISBN 97890-5179-2089. Published in 2012 by Gopher, NI, Amsterdam, ISBN 97890-5179-535-6. Published in 2012 by Cherwanier, NI, Leeuwarden, ISBN 97890-76792200. Bibliography. Caillou, Tessaphile, Pays Atlantiques Decrets par Homer Ibérique, Gaul, Britannia, Archipels, Amériques, Terre Nouvelle, Paris, Maisonneuve ACIE, OCLC, 23,413,881. Gideon Ernst, Homerersänger der Kelten, Deventer, Ank Hermes, ISBN 90-202-25081. De Grave, Carol Joseph, République des Champs Circuites Our Mondainchen, Ouvrage dans l'école en démontre-principalement, que les champs circuites l'enfer des anciens sont le nom d'une ancienne république d'hommes justes et religieux, située à l'extrémité septentrionale de la Gaule, et surtout dans les îles du Bas-Rhin. KCET infer et écoute le premier sanctuaire de l'initiation aux mystères, écoute et écoute initia. Que les poètes Homer et Hésiode sont originaires de la Belgium and Amp. C. Gent de l'imprimerie de P. F. de Gozenverhagen OCLC 53,145,878.